Hello, and welcome to Young Global Leaders, where we get the chance to hear from young people hailing from all around the world, sharing about themselves, their accomplishments, and their vision for a better world. Recently, I had the privilege of leading a group of about 100 young people from over 40 countries to 7 global regions on an 8-month global gap year program. Most of them had just graduated from high school, though we also had a few older students. During our 8+ months together, the students formed a deeply loving and supportive community. Anyone could see that they had built something unique and inspiring. Through my eyes as a teacher, coach, and global leadership consultant, what I saw was unlike anything I'd seen before. When the program ended, I desperately wanted to keep in touch with these students and to share their example with the world. So I started the Young Global Leaders podcast. Today, we hear from Rafa. Rafael Affonseca, Homem, Melo. I hope I did okay with your name there. Rafa, more colloquially known to all of us as Rafa. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm very happy to see you, Jason. It's been a long time. Happy to see you.
Really happy to see you too, and appreciate you taking time to chat with us today. Can you start by sharing with our listeners where you are joining us from?
I'm currently based in São Paulo, Brazil.
And I think you showed me, I can see you, and you showed me you're in a lovely public park.
Yeah, I'm in a lovely public park near my home. I come here every day to take some sun bath, and it's very chilling. People here are great. Unfortunately, we are showing only the audio, but it's a lovely place.
It sure looks lovely from what you shared with me. And so we're recording this August 4th, 2025. And here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's summer. It definitely doesn't look like summer. I see a tree behind you with no leaves on it. How cold is it?
Not very cold. The weather is just looking a little bit worse today, but it's been with a very good sun for the past few days. Now is 22 degrees. It's not very cold.
Well, maybe we could dive right into it, Rafa. Tell the listeners what makes you you.
It's hard to summarize myself in only one word, but I'd say that I can be defined by persistence. I define myself, if I could, as a persistent person. And what makes me me is that I seldom settle for no as an answer. When I really believe on something, I go to the end, and even beyond the end, I create a new beginning. I define myself as a phoenix. I really love the feeling of grit when I'm in the arena, like fighting for what I believe in, fighting for the things that I know are going to make good for other people. It might sound as a cliche, but it's true. And I keep refining this to sound less as a cliche and more as my life purpose.
Mm-hmm. And people who don't know you might automatically hear that as a cliche, but as somebody who knows you, I've been able to observe you, and it's clear to me that you really live that way. That really is who you are.
Thank you. It means a lot. Mm-hmm. And you've seen this in a huge closeness because we've been traveling around the world together. Mm-hmm. You as my dean, but also sometimes as my fellow in fellowships, and I've learned a lot from you. A lot of frameworks that I just think it's amazing that in life we sometimes present ourselves with these ideals, as I just said, like persistence or bravery or whatever someone might define themselves as. And we actually find people that are so different from us, but they give so much for us as a fuel for us to grow on these ideals. So I wouldn't say that Barre made me a more persistent person because I was already defined as this before. Mm-hmm. But during Barre, like with you, with all of the fellows, with all of my friends, as I said, it just made this less as a cliche and more as a reality because now I've got something bigger to fight for. And I mm-hmm. believe that after Barre, like now I have a company that was actually incubated within Barre. I had the opportunity to start this business within Barre, and I mean, it was just a huge time that was given for me, and I just took a a new level of approach with this idea of persistency. So that's maybe out of the loop here, but it's very interesting to notice this after Beret.
Well, since you mentioned your business, could you share with us about what your business is? How it maybe just take us through how you germinated the idea, how you were able to get it incubated, and what the business is, and where you are now, and where you see it going. Just tell us that story.
Sure. Before Beret, I had already been noticing a very bad pattern, as I would define, in my generation, which is most of kids on my age, they are on the brain rot. They are doom scrolling. They are spending a lot of time on social media. And I've seen myself on this situation. Sometimes I even still do because I'm still immersed on something that I'm still trying to change in me and in other people. And I noticed in this behavior that almost all of this was based on aspiration. So I consider that my time on social media was well spent because I was aspiring for things that I wanted to do. One of them was traveling around the world. And I ended up finding Beret, and the rest is just good stories, but it happened out of my aspiration of pursuing that. So I know that the model of social medias is very, very good for people to find opportunities and even to find frameworks and to keep fighting for what they believe. I see no bad on this. But unfortunately, not everybody use the algorithm in the same way as I did. And a lot of people, they find themselves in a loophole, in this wasteland of content that is social media. So my idea was to redefine social media, create an antidote for doom scrolling in an app that offers you only the best on the internet for your goals, tailor-made for you. So if you want to be a Beret scholar, for sure you're going to have a great support then, not only because of the founder was one himself, but because the platform aligns a lot with these values of pursuing what you want and focusing on that. Like, the rest is just noise. And Beret was just the perfect place for me to do this, because it's a time that I obviously found myself using less social media because I was actually leaving a lot of things. I had no time to be on social media. I even posted so much little, and now I'm starting to post things from Beret. It was a time that I redefined this noise to signal ratio in my life, and that's what I'm trying to do with the platform. There's
less
so much noise
more
out
signal,
there.
right? Yeah,
exactly.
How does the it's an app? Is that what it is?
It's an app.
And do you have are you able to share the name of the app, or is that secret?
It's still secret. I can share with you
offline,
off, but offline, okay. Off the record. But I'm very happy that very, very soon I'm gonna be able to share this. I'm just still securing some other investment commitments because it's very capital driven. It's a very capital driven venture, so a lot of things happening. But I'm very happy to have this support from all of the people around me, people that I've met in Beret, you and everybody. I can say with a lot of happiness in my heart that this was born within Beret, and I count with Beret every day too. There's a little kid by my side here. And yeah, very, very, very happy. And very happy that people are still going to be this kind of curating the content and kind of giving me better directions, because I count with everything that I've lived in Beret with these people.
Are you targeting specifically like Gen Z, or is this app also targeted more broadly to any mobile phone users?
I'm starting with Gen Z because it's obviously the group that is suffering more from these distractions on the internet nowadays. But only God knows. In the future, it might become something like a more mass-directed product, which is not my idea right now.
Got it. I'm actually asking, I mean, not only out of curiosity about your project, but also selfishly, I feel like I could use an app. I mean, I spend very little time on social media. Still, you know, the news app that I use on my iPhone, I might be in the mood for something that's tailored to me instead of, because if I just go to the page, then it's all this doom and gloom, and I don't want that. So I actually want your app. I'm not quite Gen Z though, so I may have to wait a little bit longer.
You know me, you've been in touch already with the venture. Let's say that you've already had the trigger to get interested for my app. But people in the near future, when we start to really market it and spread word of mouth, I'm just not sure that by our design, you would be the first person to know about it. I've had to go over thousands of different scenarios, and maybe everything that I design is gonna prove wrong, and my generation is still gonna stick to Instagram and TikTok and to the brain rot. They're gonna settle for the cheap dopamine, and then maybe for our business survival sake, we're gonna have to move to a new direction that would mean directed to people like you, people that are offline people, let's call it, people that are spending less time on social media. I think right now it's just a matter of trying different approaches and get adapting as we go.
Yes, well, I mean, I know you've been seeking input from a lot of different people, and based on my very limited subject matter expertise, it sounds like really good advice for you to pick an audience, start there, focus on it, especially because that's the passion that drives you in the first place. You're thinking about your own experience and the experience of people in your generation. You know, I'm excited to keep watching it and see where it goes. And also, I know you mentioned the possibility of us having separate chats offline about it. And of course, I'm happy to do that because I'd love to be a part of it.
Sure. And I'm very happy to hear that because, as I said, like this back and forth conversations that I've been having with people, not only from Bahrain, but from all areas from my life, like this is actually what's fuel for this to be happening. You know, we're still running for money. Of course, capital is important to become a business, but from the conception itself, the idea itself is this back and forth communication that keeps it alive. Because as a founder, it's not every day that I wake up fully in love with this, and I have to go over my rituals to remember how this doesn't just have a possibility to work, but has a real big importance in how I have to make it work. It's important. People need that. I'm not doing a vitamin. I'm doing a painkiller, you know. In business, people talk a lot about this, like painkillers and vitamins. I'm not doing just another fancy little app icon for your phone. I'm doing something that is a window, a channel, a new road for you to pave for yourself, you know.
I love the metaphor. I hadn't heard that before. Painkiller and vitamin. But it's a powerful metaphor. I like it.
Nowadays, everything seems to be born with like a timeline already calculated. Like the products that we buy, they don't last long, and I think it's a time for us to come back to the basics and things that can really outlive us, and we're fighting for something bigger. We're not fighting to just solve our boredom or our dopamine addiction. We are solving something that people are going to keep using, frameworks that are almost eternal. They're going to use for their whole lives, either in business, either in relationships, in love, with friendships. Like,
Well, let's turn our attention a little bit more to the some other aspects of this global adventure that you were on. And you mentioned a couple of things already. That you were already persistent before you started Brave Scholars, and that working on this business has given you an opportunity to further develop your persistence and also to recognize this about yourself. I'm wondering what other aspects of your own growth you might share about. 8.5 months, 7 global regions, about 100 fellow students. There's so much there. There's so many opportunities to grow personally. And I'm wondering if you've had the chance to reflect at all about other ways in which you might have grown during this adventure.
I'd say that probably the more clear thing that I can really see before and after Beret is my ability to focus in a way of how I can manage my time better, how I can prioritize things better. As I said, as a core of my business, how to differentiate between signal and noise, not only from external sources like the world, like you're here and someone steals your attention, but in a way that we are constantly stealing our attention to the things that really matter. Like it's hard to keep up with everything going here in our minds, our thoughts. And before Barre, I can say that I was already a persistent person, already brave enough to buy some fights and fight till the end. But that's not all. Like, this might get you just as far as you can. But for you to go any longer than this, you have to find other frameworks and other tools, new tools, for you to not only throw a jab with big force, but in a strategic way that makes sense in the longer term, So Barre have provided me these tools. Sometimes, believe me or not, but like sometimes I can still hear the voices of you, of Chris, of Omar, that was my fellow, of dear friends of mine there. I can hear the voice of these people, like in very small quotes, like very small advices that really made an impact on me. So regarding time management, we were talking in the beginning about the interview itself, and like Chris was someone that noticed this time issue on me, like how to speak more straightforward. And this is actually good, because I have a lot of thoughts, but I need to know when each one of them should be used and if they should be used at all, I had to be very minimalistic in my business when I was writing the business plan, when I was talking with people, when I was pitching this idea. It's not enough to have a good idea. It's all in the how you present it. What feelings are you generating on people? The choice of words. Like I really became kind of a curator of my own thoughts, as I would define. Barry provided me the opportunity to do this, kind of be the physician of my own mind. And things have been more clear.
That's so powerful. I'm just thinking about, the state of our species is due so much. I mean, it's due to a lot of factors, but one consistent theme is we're not very good by default at behaving intentionally. And it's the same thing behind the doom scrolling problem in the first place, right? It's just whatever's sort of right in front of us and available for us. And what I especially appreciate about what you're sharing right now is the importance of being intentional, even to the level of, as you said, curating our own thoughts. Not easy, right? Because we often don't even know what it is that we're thinking. let alone trying to bring some kind of order to that process. And then also having that be what primarily directs our choices and our actions in the world. So I just wanted to bring that out as a really powerful form of learning that you've been engaged in.
I'm gonna share a story that might be very important for people that are either considering joining Beret or have already applied, or are just taking a look at Beret as the amazing thing that it is. There was an afternoon when I was in Morocco. We were all in a beach called Essaouira, and I think that was one of the most powerful moments for Beret, not by anything fancy, but by its simplicity itself. We were waiting for the bus that was getting us there, but we actually ended up arriving a little earlier, so we had to wait for the bus. And as we waited for the bus, like a silence just took place. It was brief enough for me to start having thoughts like negative thoughts. And I'm not usually someone that have negative thoughts. As I told you, I become a very good physician of my own brain. But I ended up getting bored and facing these kind of negative emotions, getting tired of being there. And I don't remember who put the song, but like we listened to two songs, and I remember vividly about this because I had read my journal here before our talk. And one of the songs were "Happy" by Pharrell Williams, which is a very famous song. For a lot of time, I didn't like this song very much because it was so sticky to a level that I found it annoying. But during this particular moment, a song that talked about happiness in such a very happy way, and not just happy, but like exhilarating and almost passionate about what this person might be living in the song. And during this moment, it was just a blissful moment because there I really got that we are constantly facing like bad situations, good situations, doesn't matter. We are constantly facing the risk of having negative emotions, having negative thoughts. And that was a very important moment for me because that's when I saw that Beret was all about flipping this card, like looking at the other side.
Well, along those lines, you were traveling the world with peers from over 40 different countries, and I'm sure you learned some things about how to communicate and collaborate across cultures. And the reason I'm mentioning that right now is you talk about flipping that card, right? And understanding different viewpoints. And I'm wondering what insights you may have gained during your time in this regard. That is to say, about effective communication and collaboration. I mean, it's really across human difference. It isn't necessarily just cultural difference. It's just that, with you all coming from over 40 countries, there's a lot of sort of built-in ways in which you could all differ from one another. But I would love to hear any thoughts that you have generally about how that played out for you and what you might have learned.
I found it funny that I could identify me as a Brazilian better and better as I went. What I mean by that is we are living in a country for most of our life, and we are used to the way that people behave, they talk, which is very similar. It might change from one state to the other, but like you get used to this world. And when you travel around the world, especially in our case that we had already people from all across the world since the beginning, you get to see funny similarities and funny discrepancies. So some of the funny similarities that I didn't expect to find was that both the Arabic and Chinese people, they are very welcoming, just as here in Brazil. And I said, like, why am I feeling like home here? It took me some time to reflect on that and come to this conclusion that it was actually about the people. And I'm just throwing a random example about this welcomeness and this warmness that I found in these countries. It was funny. It was funny to find the similarities and say, okay, like, I identify myself as this warm and sociable person because I'm Brazilian, but that's actually not because I'm Brazilian, because there's so many other people that are just like that and they are not Brazilians. So it helps us to really get to the root of it, like where you come from, and what makes you that person. And regarding the discrepancies, not all of the countries in the world felt like home, but I still could find people that were similar to me, or even people that were different from me, but they gave me this kind of sense of home. So I learned through the way to find this sense of home with my friends, with people that were welcoming us in their country. This is probably one of the main learnings that I took from interacting with so many different people, how to feel like home when you're with them, and how to do the same, not only when they come to your country, but when you're together traveling. Like, what is the feel like home point in each person? Makes me a more attentive person in this sense.
And I think it also speaks to your own openness and your own broad-mindedness, that you were able to, that your attention was guided towards those points of connection and those points of similarity. The default way of dealing with difference is often to reject it, to feel threatened by it. And what I especially appreciate about what you just shared was, at least in these instances, that's not what you were engaged in doing. You were actually engaged in finding ways to become closer, to build intimacy and to build relationships. So I just wanted to appreciate that about you as well, that not just anybody would have that kind of experience. That was very particular to the orientation that you brought to it. What I'd like to explore with you next is around the concept of sort of learning and unlearning. We often talk about learning as an important outcome of a program like Beret Scholars. So much learning, different kinds of learning, a little bit of classroom learning. You're listening to the morning program with lecturers, and then you're going out and doing independent exploration, or you're taking, going on afternoon options outings into the home-based cities. You're out on fellowships. There's so many types of learning and different formats for learning. I'm wondering if you had any experiences of unlearning during your travels.
I'd say that I learned how to take things for granted, because that's something you learn. You learn how to take things that you appreciate for granted. This is probably one of the most impactful things from Beret. Before Beret, like, every time that I achieved something in my life, there was always a next thing. And I always took for granted the previous thing and went for the next thing. It worked. It works for most of us. Like, most of the times what we have of more important, of more rich value, we secure these things by just not thinking about them every single moment. And in Beret, I started to take things less for granted, because when we were visiting a city, soon enough, we were going away. Like, the people that we've met along the way, as we talked before, like, we can always keep in touch, but it's not the same thing. And it's about things that they don't last long, like a moment in the beach, like these things, they last very little. So coming back to what we were talking, even regarding my company, like, I kind of unlearned how to pay attention so much to the noise, because before Beret, I was thinking about college. And like, let's take this as an example. When you're thinking about college, you have a multitude of options in front of you, which can become noise, because every single thing that appeared to you seems like an opportunity, more fresher, a brighter opportunity, something better. And you're always looking for something better, always looking for something else. And you never feel fulfilled with that. And I'm not saying that it's not important for you to pursue better opportunities, but it's in the way that we put it in our shoulders every day. If you leave it to a blank piece of paper, no problem about that. The pen is always going to have the best memory possible. As I told you, like, a lot of things I remember because I took notes in my notebook.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I bring for my platform as well, how people can memorize the things that really matter. But regarding Beret itself, a lot of things I knew that they would last very shortly, and there is a beauty on it. And I knew that for me to get the most of it, to get the richest moments in my life, I have to stop taking them for granted, because I'm not just living this moment because tomorrow this is gonna give me a reward. I'm living this for its own sake. I'm living it because I'm here right now and I'm seeing a beautiful sunset, and that's what I'm gonna seize right now. Like, the world might be falling, but not mine. Right now I'm looking for the sea. And I saw this kind of anxiety loosening up in everybody, in every single one. Because everybody came to Beret kind of with these expectations. A lot of people were applying for college. I ended up not applying because I was focused on the business. I still am. And but most of the people still had these anxieties in their shoulders. And I mentioned this story from Morocco because I feel that Morocco was kind of, not just Morocco, but we were in Turkey when we took this fellowship. So I'd say that in Istanbul, as the first base city after the break, was kind of a breaking point for everybody. Because people had applied for college, they were coming back, and they were coming back with such a different view. I can speak of my own. I was coming with a different view of what Beret could still be, right in the middle of it. And I think that these reflections just brought me to this idea of, let's forget about some things that I learned, in the sense of unlearning, which can be good. Let's forget about the things that I still have to do for a second, because they're not going to get resolved just out of my sense of preoccupation, of anxiety. Nothing in my life nothing good in my life ever came from this anxiety. So let's forget about some things for now. Let's give everything that I have for these people to provide good memories for them, and in exchange expect only good memories from them. And the same philosophy regarding my business. I feel that sometimes I'm left speechless about Beret, because there's so much to be said. But if I summarize Beret in some words and say something that I might unlearn there, is that we can't take things for granted. Like, we can't let this crush us, like, there's so much beauty to be seen. There is a thrilling, rich and simple sense when you're traveling. Just changing faces, both of the cities and the people, has a very powerful impact on us. And I don't know, I think I'm getting very profound here, but it's easy to get lost on the noise in the world nowadays, and Beret kind of create this window.
Well, I mean, profound that's why we're here, right? So thank you for your profound insights. There's so much in there to appreciate. I think the number one thing that's sticking with me about what you just shared is around the power of recognizing what we do have and appreciating what we do have, because it interrupts that process of longing and striving. Again, you said, of course, it's important to be ambitious. It's important to have goals, but that's not really mostly what we're doing most of the time unconsciously. We're we're doing something else that's not helpful to us. But pausing, recognizing what we do have, takes us into the moment, allows us to be with others, and also, I think, fills us with a sense of gratitude too. And I know there's all kinds of research about how that benefits the brain as well. So I appreciate you sharing all of that, and that's just one little sliver of what you just shared.
And well, you just brought up a very important word, which is gratitude. Talking about not taking things for granted. If we flip this card, the opposite of this is gratitude.
Right.
When you expect nothing more than what you already have. Not in a way that you don't want more, but right now, there's no reason for more. Let's just seize what we already got before we can jump off to the next step.
Nice.
And one of the words that is probably more used in this traveling journal of mine is gratitude. Every time that I would write, I don't write daily because I don't like this pressure, but like every note that I took here was probably coming from an anecdote from a day or a chronic or a real big adventure that I took, or just a mundane daily basis experience. And most of them I start with gratitude. Today I'm so grateful for living, and then I would describe what I live. And I just find that's interesting. It was never conscious. Now that I'm reading, I see that every blissful moment that I had, I started describing it with gratitude.
I love that. Well, you've already given us a lot. And there's one other question that I have that's related to everything that we've been talking about. And that is, so we live in a world that is full of suffering, and a lot of that suffering is caused by humans. And it can be really easy. This is part of the doom scrolling that you were referring to, and that your business is meant to address. So you know very well how easy it is to feel overwhelmed and how easy it is to lose hope. Have you got any words to encourage us about the future?
I'd say that Barre gives me kind of a relief nowadays, because I have no doubt that everybody that I met there is growing very far in life. And that doesn't mean that they are just going to have a lot of financial success or prestige in their careers. But it also means that they are in their way of becoming great human beings. They already are, but they are in a way of, almost in a stoic way, related to everything that we said. They are with a very far direction in life, for striving for big things and big causes in the world. And having met all of these people, and only time will say, and being one of these people, I can say that I feel a sense of relief that these are the kind of people that are gonna lead the way for the world. We live in a very concerning moment in history, in politics. I'd say that in this moment, having been through this experience of Barre just gave me a glimpse of what we are about to face for the future. And if the future is really gonna look like as Barre, I'd feel relief to live in this world. I know that we were among people that are gonna create laws in their countries, they're gonna lead companies, they're gonna start companies as I do. Everybody there has a very singular ability, very singular talent that is gonna take them very far in life. And having been in touch with them and knowing about their values and what they really believe, the way that they believe to achieve these things, that is the most important thing. It's very pure, and it's very hopeful for me. And I see Barre as only the tip of the iceberg in this whole global scale. Maybe my company is gonna become something with a huge impact, and having been born in Barre, I hope to bring these values forward, and I'm pretty sure that everybody there is gonna bring these same values forward. It's very good. It's very good to be in touch with these things and see that the world is not completely lost and there are still people like us.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Rafa. If you did, please tell at least one friend about it. Give us a 5-star rating and follow the podcast. That will help others find us. Until next time, let's keep our heads clear and our hearts open.